Hello everybody and welcome to my next Get a Life moment with myself, Lisa Davies, and I'm absolutely delighted today to be joined by Emma Sheardown, who is a TEDx speaker and a Para Dressage Champion. Now, I think I first probably met Emma when her family used to bring the family dog into my family's boarding kennels. It was that long ago.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
It was a while ago. So, but you've been on to some heights of fame since then. So welcome, Emma. It's an absolute joy to have you on Get a Life Moment.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
You're really, really welcome. So for those people who've not come across you before, Emma, who is Emma Sheardown? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my first challenge in life started right at the beginning of my birth. So my birth was quite traumatic, and I was starved of oxygen,
Right.
and that left me with brain damage.
Okay.
The first few days of my life were a real fight. In fact, they thought at one stage I wasn't going to make it. But luckily, things turned around, and here I am to tell the tale.
Thank goodness. Yeah, thank goodness.
So, the first year of my life, my parents noticed that I wasn't developing as I should do. So I wasn't rolling over or sitting up or reaching any milestones that I should be doing.
Yeah.
And at 14 months old, after numerous tests and examinations, I was diagnosed with quadriplegic cerebral palsy. So cerebral palsy is a neurological condition, and that affects the way the brain sends messages to different parts of the body.
Right.
And the quadriplegic bit means that all four of my limbs are affected. So both my arms and my legs are affected. And also, as you can tell, my speech is also affected, as is my balance. So at that stage, my future looked quite bleak. My parents were told that I would never be able to walk or talk. But thankfully, my parents and my family around me committed themselves to hours of physiotherapy, speech therapy, etc. And as I got older, I got stronger, and my limbs, which initially were really tight and closed in, began to straighten out and get stronger. And by the age of 6, I was walking with a walking frame.
So you were proving them wrong right from the beginning, really, weren't you? Yeah.
Apparently, I always wanted to be on my feet right from an early age, but it wasn't until I was much stronger
Mhm.
and my legs weren't as tight that I was actually allowed to go on my feet.
Yeah.
So over the years I had walking frames, I had gaiters on my legs and arms, I had splints on my legs and special boots to help everything stay aligned
Mhm.
and give me the support I need to walk. But I had my walking frames, but I always liked to, my favourite thing to do was to get somebody to walk behind me
Right.
so I could walk on my own. I could be free.
Yeah.
So by the age of 6, this was getting better. I was doing more and more like this. And I remember one day I was sat in the living room. My mum was in the kitchen and Dad was out at work. I remember thinking, I want to walk. I'm going to walk. So I got out my chair and took my first steps totally unaided.
Wow.
And I remember saying, look, Mummy, I can walk.
I bet she was in tears, wasn't she? Your mum?
Yes, she was.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently she couldn't wait for Dad to get home from work to tell him. But from that day onwards, there was no stopping me. I found my legs and my freedom and I was off.
Yeah.
So,
And that's led you on quite an amazing journey, and that
yeah.
determination and proving all of the medical world completely wrong.
Yeah.
Then took you onto a path that, well, you finished up on 4 legs. So tell us a little bit how the journey went.
Well, the 4 legs came in as a result of all that, really. So when I was 2 years old, my physiotherapist suggested that the one thing she felt could really help me was horse riding.
Okay.
Luckily, we lived on a farm because shortly afterwards, a pony arrived, a Shetland pony called Dusty Bin. So my mum and dad were not horsey at all, so they took on the challenge of looking after this pony.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't helped with the fact that she was a stroppy little Shetland pony.
I thought you were going to say she was a stroppy shit then. A very stroppy little Shetland pony, yeah.
Yeah, she was. So she wasn't easy to look after. I think there were a few bites and kicks along the way.
Yeah.
But during my time, I think I had her for about 3 or 4 years. And during that time, there was a significant improvement in my physical development because riding helped people like me because the movement of the horse emulates in the hips, so it sort of gets your movement going to be able to walk.
Right.
And also it's good for balance and coordination.
Your physio was way ahead of herself, really, wasn't she? She obviously had some divine inspiration, I think, because she must have known what was coming, I reckon.
I know, my mum always says she doesn't know what that suggestion led to, really.
Yeah.
Because, well, having Dusty, I also got hooked on ponies and riding. So by the time I was 7, at that point, Dusty, bless her, was no longer with us. But by the time I was 7, I was keen to get riding, and also my mum and dad were also keen for me to continue to ride, having seen the improvement.
Yeah.
So that was when I started to ride at a local riding school, which also luckily did riding for the disabled. So I rode there for nearly 20 years.
Wow.
So in the first sort of few years I was riding with the RDA, so I was riding for therapy, and I was also enjoying the same hobby as my able-bodied peers were doing.
Yeah.
So that was a really positive thing for me to do.
Mm.
But by the age of about 14, 15, I began to get a bit frustrated because there were obviously limits to what I could do.
Yeah.
Because of my disability. So, for example, I couldn't really handle the horses on the ground.
Mm.
So I would love to be able to look after them.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do that. And also I would see my friends learning to ride, being able to canter and jump. And for obvious reasons, with poor balance, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So it often felt like they were overtaking me,
Yeah.
and I was getting left behind. But when I was about 16, 17, my instructor at the time introduced me to dressage.
Right.
First of all, within the riding for the disabled. So I competed the riding for the disabled national championships about 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And then eventually I was introduced to the Paralympic sport of Para Dressage. So this was a turning point for me, because at last I was able to achieve something and have a goal in something that I loved. So I felt like I had a real purpose.
And it wasn't just achieving something, was it? I mean, you really got to the top of your game, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, so I started Para Dressage in 2004 and was selected onto the world class starting potential squad, which was like the development squad for the British squad. And I competed, and I was on that squad for 6 years. I had different horses to ride, and I competed abroad all over Europe.
Wow.
And then by 2009, I had a horse called Eddie, or Birdie's Dream, I'm from Lincolnshire, and he was also from Lincolnshire.
Yeah.
It's quite a story, really, but we quickly formed a good solid partnership, and in 2009 we were selected for the European Championships in Norway.
Incredible, incredible. You must have been so proud.
I felt like at last I was earning my place on the squad, and I was achieving what I wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
So Eddie and I went to Norway, and we were part of a team of 7, and we went out there as sort of new kids on the block, sort of to get experience of a major championships. But actually what happened is that we won a silver medal in the individual dressage test. But then in the freestyle, the music class, the day after, we exceeded all expectations by beating my teammate and taking the gold medal.
Wow.
I did
Incredible. I mean, it must have been so exciting. I mean, like you're going there as the new kids on the block and you're coming away with the gold medal.
Yeah, it was. Nobody expected that at all. And it was just just an amazing experience, and to come back as European champions would be on my wildest dreams.
Yeah, a fantastic result. Yeah.
So, and then the following year, 2010, Eddie and I were selected again to compete in the World Equestrian Games. And this time they were held in Kentucky in America. So that was a trip of a lifetime, because I mean, I've never been to America before. So it was amazing. And it was the World Equestrian Games wasn't just para dressage, but all equestrian sports.
Yeah.
And Team GB, the whole of Team GB stayed in one team hotel. So I was in awe, having breakfast in the same room as some of my childhood stars.
Yeah.
It was amazing. We won a bronze medal in the individual test. So there was 3 riders from my grade, from Great Britain, and we won the gold, silver and bronze in the individual test. And then there was a bit of a challenge when, after receiving my bronze medal on the podium, we went and had some team photos, and I tripped over like a raised light in the ground.
Oh no.
And I fell over. My medal went smack and knocked my different T cells.
Oh my word.
So I ended up going to hospital in a fire engine with a paramedic called Captain Miracle. And I spent the night in Lexington Hospital having emergency dental treatment.
I mean, it's not funny, but you couldn't make it up, could you? I mean,
You couldn't
make up the story, but it's really not funny.
It was all very surreal.
Yeah, very surreal, I bet. Yeah.
But the next day, I still had to ride, and I was determined I wasn't going to let a few broken teeth stop me from riding. So I wasn't really feeling my best because I hadn't had a lot of sleep because I was at the hospital until late. And it was hot and I was on painkillers, so I wasn't really feeling my best. And in fact, when my horse was got ready for me, I was almost falling asleep at the side of the arena. And my coach had to give me Coca-Cola and chocolate to kickstart me back into action. The squad doctor didn't really want me to ride.
Yeah.
Because I really wasn't fit to ride. But anyway, I got on.
I'd like to have seen them try and stop you, Emma.
I know.
Knowing your determination, I don't think they'd have had a chance.
Nothing was going to stop me because I wasn't at the other side of the world not to ride.
Yeah.
So I got on, I went into the arena and my test started. And after a very wiggly start, in what should have been a perfect straight line, from that point the test felt really good. And in actual fact, I was amazed to find out afterwards that I had done enough to win the gold medal.
Done enough to win the gold medal. You absolutely smashed it and come away with the gold medal is what you'd done. Yeah. Oh, wow. What a story. I mean, like you say, you couldn't make that up, could you? You know, you're in hospital the night before, you're on the other side of the world. Yeah. You're taken to hospital by Captain Miracle, and even though you were under the influence of lots of Coca-Cola and chocolate, you still came out with a gold medal. I mean, testament to you.
It was very surreal, but a great experience.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
So how do you top that? I mean, that's just incredible, isn't it? You're coming back to the UK with yet another gold medal, you know, from a world event. It's just incredible.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. Pretty amazing to stand on that top podium. It really was. It was a trip of a lifetime. It was amazing. Yeah. In fact, it's 10 years. It was 10 years last week.
Wow. Yeah.
I won the gold medal.
And so what have you been doing since then, Emma?
Well, from that point, everything started to go a bit pear-shaped. And unfortunately, in 2017, it got to the point where my career ended. Because I hadn't really got a suitable horse. Trouble is, when you haven't got a horse that's up there, you can't compete. And my European and world horse retired.
Yeah.
And I got another one. and things just didn't go right from then on, really. So when my career collapsed 3 years ago, it was a big ordeal for me, because at the end of the day, this was my life, you know. My whole life revolved around the horses, training and competing.
Yeah.
And I can remember I had a horse on loan at that time, and unfortunately she had to go back because being taken off the squad, I just couldn't afford to do it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember waking up the day after Christmas went back to her owner, and I thought, now what? What do I do now? It felt like everything had gone. No horse, nothing really scheduled for, nothing to plan for. Everything had gone. So that when my next challenge started, and that was my challenge of depression.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to say it must have been such a difficult time. Like you say, the whole of your life from being a little girl had been about horses.
Yeah.
So that must have been such a difficult time. So what was it that helped you through that time?
Well, I need something to do. I need to have a purpose. So I searched. I spent literally every waking hour on the internet trying to find what I would like to do. Jobs, careers, what could I do? And then eventually I hit on the idea that as part of being an elite athlete, being funded by the lottery, I was required to do talks to schools and clubs to give something back.
Yeah.
Motivational talks. And I really did enjoy that. So I decided that what I was going to do, I was going to market myself as a motivational speaker.
Yeah.
So since then it's sort of gone on from there. And I've been really lucky. I've got a wonderful coach in Taz Thornton.
Yeah, we both know Taz. She's amazing, isn't she?
She is. She's a star. I've been lucky to do some big speaking gigs. So I've done TEDx, I've done Brad Burton's Now What Live.
Yeah.
I've done Ignite Business Conference. And I'm really loving it. And my aim now is to use my experiences to help inspire other people and to prove that whatever life throws at you, you can achieve.
Yeah, and you are proving that. I mean, you know, you've done such amazing things in the sport, but then, you know, to be so open and honest and talk about that then led to depression when that was, you know, there must be so many people out there that have felt that, whether they're an elite athlete, that their career comes to an end, or, you know, somebody's made redundant, or, you know, they have a loss. It is that loss, isn't it? And to talk about that, and to then go beyond that and inspire others with your experience, it's just incredible, Emma. It really is. It really is.
Thank you. I think it's important at this time because with what everyone's going through at the moment with the pandemic, people are obviously losing their jobs,
Yeah,
their careers. There was the students who, had the problems with grades and didn't probably get what they wanted and the courses they wanted. And I'm trying to use my experiences now to help other people through.
yeah. Yeah, and if we go right back to where you started, when your parents were told that you'd never be able to walk and you'd never be able to talk, and actually you now have a career that is about talking, about being on stage and about talking. So, I mean, what can you say about that? I mean, that is just incredible. That is like putting two fingers up to the medics who told you that,
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Yeah.
So, as I ask all of my guests, Emma, before we end, what is your top tip for life that you could give the audience?
Well, my motto for life and my business tagline is there's no such word as can't.
Yeah.
Because I always believe that whatever life throws at you, whatever you face, there's always a way. And there really is no such word as can't.
Yeah, absolutely. And you are absolute proof of that. There is no such word as can't. It's been my absolute pleasure spending time with you today, Emma.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you very much for having me.
Yeah, it's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much.